Sarah C. Bedford of the Washington Examiner, one of their lead political and Capitol Hill reporters, to fill us in on the chaos in the GOP caucus. Good morning, Sarah. Thank you for being up early. What do you hear about what's going on inside the Scalise-Jordan race?
Well, obviously, right now, both Scalise and Jordan are, making their case member by member as to why they should be the next speaker. Jordan notched the endorsement of former President Donald Trump. It's not clear if that will help or hurt him, right? Because I think there are a lot of moderate members right now who feel really burned by this whole Gates-led insurrection, for lack of a better word, and they want promises from the next speaker that they're going to empower that wing of the party even less. So, it's unclear if that's going to help Jordan in the long run. But, time is ticking down. On Tuesday, they'll have a candidate forum where they'll get to present to the conference, and then they'll have the House Republican vote. So this is a pretty truncated timeline as opposed to someone like McCarthy, who had really months to make the case of why he should be the next speaker leading up to that January vote.
Sarah, is there any conversation about voting Patrick McHenry, the temporary speaker, who has no authority to move anything on the House floor, into the speakership on the condition that he resign after a month? Because trying to get this organized over the weekend is nuts. Because I don't think anyone can get to 218. Now, if I'm wrong, that's great, but I don't see it happening. Do you?
I mean, right now it seems pretty evenly split. There are some heavyweight endorsements on for both candidates right now, right? It's not just like Jordan has the fringe and Scalise has the moderates. Both of them are attracting members from all parts of the party, and things are pretty evenly split right now. So something would really have to shake loose, some sort of deal for one of them to gain a clear advantage. I've seen the chatter about Patrick McHenry being sort of an interim speaker to take all the slings and arrows during the spending fight so the next speaker can come in and have a clean slate. But I don't know how it doesn't appear to me that that's a real serious conversation right now in the conference.
Tom McClintock last night tweeted out, "We got to bring back Kevin McCarthy." Ken Calvert from Palm Springs said he never wants to speak to Matt Gaetz again. I don't know how you rebuild it. What do you hear anything that suggests that anyone can replicate the McCarthy machine? The political side of the operation, right?
I think, Scalise is the second most prolific fundraiser in the House Republican Conference, right? And so his numbers are larger than anyone else's. Jordan's not that far behind. So, if the next speaker was given the opportunity, the platform to be the lead fundraiser, it might not take long to make up that ground. But yeah, obviously it was a self-defeating move. I'm sure you've covered this well this week, to remove the Republicans' most prolific fundraiser at a time when Republicans have such a slim majority and are heading into such a competitive election year, to say nothing of the future of legislation under the next Republican speaker who could be hobbled by all of this. But I don't know that Scalise is that far behind McCarthy in terms of fundraising that's a huge concern right now.
Israel enters into rotating prime minister agreements sometimes when they have deadlock because they've got the parliamentary system, which, if you get, I think, 3%, you get party seats. You got to put together these coalition. And Benjamin Netanyahu entered into one with Benny Gantz a few years ago where Bibi went first and Gantz was supposed to go second, but then it never happened. Any whispers of that? Because I really don't know how they get to 218 by Wednesday, and then get the spending done. It was really a hand grenade into the caucus.
Yeah, I mean, the next speaker kind of has to operate as if they're in a parliamentary system, right? Build a coalition of factions of the Republican Party that could very well be in a different system, members of different parties at this point. Mike Lawler and Matt Gaetz being in the same Republican Party is kind of a wild thought right now. So the next speaker sort of has to operate like that, right? Cobble together different factions with different types of concessions. Scalise having a lot more experience in leadership might be better at sort of working that angle than Jim Jordan, who has really traditionally represented one wing of the Republican Party and done that really well, but he's very closely associated with conservatives and has only more recently aligned himself with the establishment. So Scalise might be better at that coalition building part of getting to 218.
Well, the broken bones. Derek Van Orden, the SEAL who was elected from Wisconsin, he's a freshman, just tweets out clown in regards to Matt Gaetz. Ken Calvert never wants to talk to him. Jim Jordan is liked by everyone. Steve Scalise is liked by everyone. But boy, there are some people that just hate each other in that room. So getting to 218, much less getting into the caucus room, is going to be a challenge. Sarah, by the way, do you think, we got 1 minute, do you think Gates and team had any idea what they were doing?
I think Gates did. This was personal for him. He wants to elevate himself as he prepares to potentially run for the Florida Republican governor. Some of the others, had more principled arguments, I suppose you could say, about spending. But Gates seems to have achieved his goal. He humiliated McCarthy, and I guess he didn't seem to really care what the cost was of achieving that.
And Nancy Mace was on this show 4 years ago. I posted the audio thanking Kevin McCarthy profusely for getting her over the line. It's just good luck to you on this weekend. There's going to be 25 stories you can write, Sarah Bedford, if you just, depending on who you call up on the Hill. And they're all talking to everyone because no one knows. We're going full Thelma and Louise. Sarah C. Bedford on Twitter, or the site formerly known as Twitter. Thank you.